Have you ever been on a flight just staring out the window at the curve of the Earth and had that thought, why are we all the way up here? It seems like such a huge effort, right? Climbing for thousands and thousands of feet, only to come all the way back down? Well, today we're going to break down why that climb is pretty much the secret to all of modern air travel. So you're up there, cruising above the clouds, and it hits you. All that power, all that fuel, just to get this high. Is it really worth it? Oh yeah. The answer is a huge, resounding yes. In fact, if planes didn't get to this altitude, the entire economic model of flying would just, well, it would completely fall apart. Let's dig into why.
You might think it's about getting a smoother ride or maybe avoiding storms, and yeah, those are definitely great perks. But the real reason, the #1 driver that shapes almost every single decision in the airline industry, it all comes down to one thing: money.
That's right, it all boils down to fuel. The single biggest reason planes fly so high is to save an absolutely incredible amount of it. And how they do that is this brilliant mix of physics, some really clever engineering, and even using the weather to their advantage.
All right, so let's start with the physics. At its heart, this is all about what the plane is physically pushing through. You see, the higher you go, the less stuff, the less air there is to fight against.
And the difference is just staggering. Down here where we live, the air is thick, it's dense. But once a plane gets up to its cruising altitude, say 33,000 feet, the air density is only about 1/3 of what it is at sea level. I mean, it is incredibly thin up there.
This is honestly the perfect way to picture it. Trying to fly low would be like a world-class sprinter trying to run through waist-deep water. The resistance, what engineers call drag, it's massive. But flying way up high in that thin atmosphere, that's like the same sprinter on a perfect, clear track. The plane can just slice right through it with way less effort.
And get this, here's the real payoff. Because there are so few air molecules creating drag, an aircraft can fly about 73% faster for the exact same amount of engine power. Just think about that for a second. That's not a small improvement, it's a massive leap in efficiency.
And this is exactly where the physics connects right back to the economics. Flying faster means shorter flight times, right? Shorter flight times mean the engines are burning fuel for fewer hours. And for an airline where fuel is one of their biggest costs, this isn't just a tiny saving, it's the whole ball game.
But less drag from the thin air? That's only half the story. The other half is what's happening inside the engines themselves, because it turns out they absolutely thrive in the extreme cold of high altitudes. And when I say cold, I mean seriously cold. It can be a nice 15 degrees Celsius, that's about 60 Fahrenheit on the ground, but at 33,000 feet, the air outside is around -50 Celsius. That is colder than your average day in Antarctica. And for a jet engine, that is the perfect working weather. So why is this crazy cold so good for the engines? Well, even though the air is thin overall, the cold temperatures actually make the air that is there much denser than it would be if it were warm. This means that for every gulp of air the engine sucks in, it's getting a much richer dose of oxygen. More oxygen means a better, more powerful burn of the fuel, and that translates directly to more thrust for every single drop of jet fuel.
It's really a basic principle of jet engines. So flying high gives the aircraft this incredible 1-2 punch. First, you've got the thin air on the outside reducing drag, and second, you've got the frigid air on the inside boosting the engine's performance.
So we have these amazing fuel savings from the physics and the engineering, but on top of all that, flying high gives you these huge operational advantages. And these benefit both the airline's bottom line and our comfort as passengers.
And these advantages really boil down to two key things: getting up above all the rough weather and hitching a free ride on this massive, invisible river of wind.
Now this is the part we all appreciate, right? Pretty much all the weather we experience, the clouds, thunderstorms, you name it, and all the turbulence that comes with it, it's all happening in the lowest layer of the atmosphere. By climbing up above it, pilots can almost always give us that smooth, comfortable flight we're all hoping for.
And then, for the airlines, there's the ultimate bonus, the jet stream. These are basically high-speed rivers of wind that circle the globe. If a pilot can get the plane into one of these, it's like surfing a giant wave. That powerful tailwind gives the plane a free push, which cuts down on flight times and, you guessed it, saves even more fuel.
So when you start to piece all of this together, you realize that a plane's altitude isn't just some random number. It's a very precisely calculated sweet spot where the economics, the physics, and our comfort all line up perfectly, and they're all pointing in one direction: up.
So let's wrap it all up. The next time you're on a flight, just remember the 4 big reasons you're up so high. First, it's driven by economics, because less fuel means lower costs. Second, it's made possible by physics, because that thin air means way less drag. Third, it's optimized by engineering, since jet engines just love that cold air. And finally, it makes our experience better, giving us that smooth ride above the clouds.
And all this leaves us with one final thought. For decades now, that altitude between about 30,000 and 40,000 feet, that's been the magic number. But as airplanes and engines keep getting better and more efficient, you have to wonder, will that sweet spot start to creep even higher into the sky? Definitely something to think about.